So, if everyone's good, we can get started. And I'm welcoming you to this class, Other Dimensions of Experience. I can't wait to get started because it is such an incredible gift to meet together in this brand new continuum that we find ourselves. And you say, like, okay, what continuum is that? Well, you'll find out as soon as you enter into it with me and become conscious of what is actually occurring. So it sounds maybe a bit mysterious, but it's actually not mysterious at all. It is all about being completely present here, now. And so we start off mostly with a little meditation, with some quiet time, and it will be guided with words, even though this is not happening at all. And this meditation is not happening at all on the mental plane. No, it is an invitation to enter deeply into your consciousness, where you are coming to the point where you are free of the idea of time and space. So it's an invitation to enter into a whole different dimension altogether, and that is the fourth dimension of timelessness. So we are inviting each other to go into, out of time experiences. And that sounds very spacey, but it's actually very much like coming closer to your reality, because the moment that we're actually looking for is the present moment. And that present moment is not ruled by time whatsoever. That's why it has incredible healing capacities. So we're really going to start today on a very high frequency, so to speak, and the frequency of letting our ideas go, letting our dense ideas of this world go, and letting go of what happened before, and letting go of what seems to be very important just a moment ago. But now in this new continuum, you have an opportunity to let that go and not let that rule anymore. So this will be a bit of the theme of the class too. You'll discover that. It's like, okay, how are we looking to the future? How are we dealing with that? Or how is there a way to look with Christ vision to what is occurring and all of that? So, but now we enter into the present moment by letting go of what happened before, by relaxing our body, by relaxing, maybe breathing can help, just to relax with breathing, with relaxing your body, with finding a nice, comfortable position to really deeply rest in yourself, so to speak, to enter deeply into your consciousness in a way that is completely new for you, because this is always new. You can't say okay, we go back to the same place that we were last time or whatever. No, there is no last time. So there literally is nothing to hold on to. So this moment that we're entering into is the one moment that really exists, and that is available to us, and that is helping us to see that there is just one of us. So the present moment is the moment where healing and rejuvenation takes place, where you actually are being touched by perfection. It's like this a frequency of perfection, of wholeness, of oneness. So this is the vision that is going to come through, so to speak, in order to shed some light on what is occurring in our life and what's occurring in this appearance of a world, or what is happening in you, most importantly. So the words that are going to be used to enter deeply into a high frequency of confirming perfection and recognizing perfection are these. And these are coming from the Government of Eden, the new book of Joel. And it are just a couple of lines, but they're very beautiful and also very helpful to to put yourself or to feel what is actually the right attitude or the right place to see myself in this moment. Like that, I get great support. So here are 3 sentences or 4 sentences actually that are helping you to let go of what was before and to feel your proper place, so to speak. So let this affect you, let this affect you. Let this completely envelop you and allow it to reveal to you something that you haven't experienced before. Let your will be done in me. Let your wisdom rule me. Let your love flow through me, that I may be wise, loving, benevolent, and just. So here I go again. Let your will be done in me. Let your wisdom rule me. Let your love flow through me, that I may be wise, loving, benevolent, and just. So try to breathe this in, it's like, oh yeah, through my nose I breathe this in. It's like it's not even light, it is not even air that I'm breathing in. No, it's light that I'm actually breathing in. So this is a very subtle but intensive way to get started. It is a very powerful way to let yourself come to the place where you actually start to communicate naturally. Yeah, that's very nice. Yeah, and release whatever you can. This is the place to get rid of a lot of stuff, so to speak, to get rid of emotions that were coming up high or ideas that were following you. And this is just an opportunity to release all of that. Release what you think was going on. Release the feelings of the emotions that are coming up. Just let it flow freely, in the recognition that you're actually completely surrounded by your safety, by the one that you can really trust. So this is a class of remembering. Remembering is becoming a member again. You never lost your membership, but this is remembering. You're completely included into this. You're a whole part of it. Just like the wave of the oceans, like, you're inseparable from the ocean that is God. You're completely inseparable. And so that is really nice. So everything that we're going to use today isn't that coming from that vision. And I bring in some illustrations of humanity, so to speak, again. Like this time it is from the Rockefeller Institute, Rockefeller Foundation. They brought out their newest plans to develop the world, to give money to certain places to develop humanity. And I thought that was an interesting way to, in an interesting moment to take a look at that, what's actually going on, what vision do people have, and how does this fit into, that you want to give is a natural part of your being, so you can't avoid giving because God only gives. So as a philanthropy, you give too, but see, there's some different things going on. So I'm eager to take a look at that with you, if you allow me. And another thing is that the remembering part, so to speak, is going to be delivered by Jill Goldsmith. So I read something from Rising in Consciousness, and the other one is Practicing the Presence. And it will not be too much text, I hope. And I have no idea how we develop, how this is all going in this talk, but we'll find out. So bear with me, and I would say let's get started with the Rising in Consciousness. So I have this on my phone and on my tablet, so I have to check out which part I can easily get. Let me see. Okay, let's start with practicing the presence. Practicing the presence, Jill says this: the vision of oneness must ever be a beacon light on our upward path. I and my Father are one. Through inner contemplation of the Father within, ultimately, I and the Father mold and melt into one, and that ancient unity is established. Now I and my Father are one is no longer an intellectual perception, but I and my Father are one becomes a demonstrable relationship, visible in its fruits. No longer do we seek for favors. No longer is there any need for favors. The spirit within is unfolding, revealing, and disclosing itself, acting in and through us. The world's acceptance of a power of good and a power of evil no longer enslaves us. We rest serenely at peace in one power. There are no powers to fight. There are no powers to fear. That is why we do not have to pray for some great power to do something. So this is really great. So I love that what Joel shares here. It's like the I and my Father are one. That's no longer an intellectual idea. Now you start to come, like on this path, you start to come in the realization that that is actually the principle that is at work here. So, and if you can integrate that literally, or remember it, like literally remember it during your day, that is your state of being, that actually that is what is occurring, and then you can see the fruits of that too in also in how you perceive the world and what comes to you. You know, this is actually totally unbelievable, but it is amazing that it works that way. Like it's the last thing you expect, that it actually is what it says. It actually works. You know, that's an amazing revelation in itself. So you practice this, and you've done this for a long time. You meditate, you do this and that. That is all really great. So now it is like, yeah, the principle is at work. It was not just an exercise to do this, or like a little training to get on a higher plane or something. No, this is actually your reality, and it is working. It's literally working on a moment by moment basis. There's no exception to it whatsoever, except the illusory mesmerism that you walk around with if you believe that that is true. So to take this with you, to recognize this as that is the principle that's at work here, then everything starts to become different. And of course, that's not easy. Like there's a lot of distraction. Everything is set up. It appears to be that way. Everything is set up for the distraction of who you really are. You have your great reading in the morning, and 5 minutes later you step out of the door, and there it already starts. Like you missed the bus, or you do this or that, and the whole day is different than you expected it to be. and you think that something went wrong, and you start to take that seriously, and now you're going to try to fix that, and on and on and on. We've been doing that for ages, didn't we? So I love it when Joel says this, like, okay, this is no longer on an intellectual plane. This is not anymore like an idea. No, this is becoming a principle in our life, and it's actually totally working. So open your eyes, wake up out of your nightmare, but also out of your sleep. Wake up, be alert in that sense, be alert. Pay attention to what is occurring, because you can look beyond appearances into, and you can actually see what is going on. And that makes it for you like an amazing day, or it's an expansion of consciousness all the time. There's just an incredible flow being created. So I'm going to bring you back to practicing at presence. Joe will ask us some questions, and I would love to read that too, just because it is, very much to the point. Okay. There are times when, through a sense of separation from God, truth seems to be so far away that we must sit down and, by engaging in a discussion with ourselves, consciously remember that the Lord is in the midst of us, is mighty. What am I looking for? A God somewhere? No, God's in his heaven, and all is well with the world. God is already about his own business, and the Son of God is already about the Father's business. What am I seeking? A mythological God up in the sky? A statue? A graven image? Am I looking for a man or a woman to influence God in my behalf? No, I and the Father are one, and only in my oneness with God can I have the peace that I desire. Only in the fulfillment of that oneness, of that love which exists between God and the Son of God, and between the Son of God and God, only in the realization that my Heavenly Father is closer to me than breathing and nearer than hands and feet, and that it is his good pleasure to give me the kingdom, only in that does a love flow out, a love that seems to be flowing from me to God and from God back to me, but which is actually an interaction within the oneness of my being, in the realization of my oneness with the Father. So here are a couple of things to take a look at. So I'll put this on the website to reread it again, but here we go again. It's like, this is a beautiful opportunity to get a deeper experience of some part of it. It's like, now we go to the outer edges of our consciousness, literally, to discover something new. So pay attention and listen to this. I and the Father are one, and only in my oneness with God can I have the peace that I desire. Only in the fulfillment of that oneness, of that love, which exists between God and the Son of God, and between the Son of God and God. Only in the realization that my Heavenly Father is closer to me than breathing and nearer than hands and feet, and that it is his good pleasure to give me the kingdom, only in that does a love flow out, a love that seems to be flowing from God to God, from me to God, and from God back to me, but is actually an interaction within the oneness of my being, in realization of my oneness with the Father. So do you get that? Can you feel what it actually says? It's like, oh my God, I am part of it, and it is totally working. Like, it is, I want this to be revealed to me on a moment by moment basis. I want to be communicating like that. And so that it has a totally different frequency than your regular, so to speak, human life that you were accustomed to a moment ago. So this is a high vibration of communication. It's like, oh my God, it is happening in my consciousness. It is literally when I have a good meditation or something like that. When I have a really deep meditation, I can have that by moments of that. But now actually what is being offered is like, no, this is the communication that's occurring on a moment by moment basis. It is a high frequency of communication. You feel the difference of that. You can feel the difference of that. It is literally like, oh my God, I feel no separation right now. My mind is in an alert state, in deep peace, in an alert state. So, and I don't have to look for exceptions anymore. I don't have to look for places where it doesn't work like that. No, it is more like that whole turnaround can take place now. This is going to be revealed to me on a day-by-day basis because I want it. It is my desire. Yeah, so here we go. That's really good news, isn't it? It's really great to be to have that coming to you. I love that. I love to share it too, but I also to completely receive that for myself. Like, that's so great. So I'm so happy that you're here to be in that with me and to enter into this excitement, in fact, about the communication that's available to us on a moment by moment basis without us doing much, but more like stepping back out of the ideas of what you think is happening and being alert and training yourself to receive that new frequency of light that is available to you. All right, so there are people in this so-called world that represent ideas of innovation, of all of that, like transformation of the community, transformation of the world economy, or like in the last couple of classes, I always brought something in from science, like the newest developments on science. And now it was coming to me to let something flow in, literally from hey, what are the latest developments in this world that are connected to a vision where people say like, oh, this needs to happen in the near future. And the most amazing thing is that the only thing that popped up for me was the Rockefeller Foundation. And to those of you who don't know what it is, like me, for instance, I found this on Wikipedia, so I give a little definition of the Rockefeller Foundation. The Rockefeller Foundation is a private foundation based at the 420 Fifth Avenue in New York City. It was established by the sixth generation Rockefeller family. And the foundation was started by Standard Oil owner John Rockefeller. And it goes on like that. So the foundation, as of 2015, the foundation was ranked as the 39th largest US foundation by total giving. Here's some interesting facts. By the end of the year 2016, assets were tallied at $4.1 billion. And so they gave a lot away, and then notice this, unchanged from 2015. So in 2016 and 2015, they had the same amount of money in the office, so to speak, 4.1 billion. So they receive a lot of donations too. So they give annual grants of $173 million to all kinds of ideas. So that is what Wikipedia said about themselves, about the Rockefeller Foundation. This is what the Rockefeller Foundation says about itself. From our very first grant to the American Red Cross more than a century ago, through to today's vast array of initiatives, the Rockefeller Foundation has built up a reputation as a trailblazer that convenes unlikely partnerships and sparks innovation for transformative change. Our list of greatest achievements is long. We founded the modern field of public health, developed vaccines to help eradicate diseases, funded urban visionary Jane Jacobs, and catalyzed the Green Revolution. So that's where they're all very busy with, and that's really lovely because they intend to give. So that's a wonderful, like there's the basic principle of God, you know, God only gives. So the amazing thing that happened to me when I was reading there, and I will read some of that in a moment, like their plans for the future, like the development plans. The amazing thing was that it was just posted in May 2020, and you see that, okay, so now you're going to bring in some information into this world as a foundation. You build plans for the future, and at the same time, the whole situation already completely changed because of the COVID era, so to speak. And so that is the amazing thing. So you're preparing yourself as a foundation, as a human mind. You prepare yourself on a future that will never happen, for one thing, but also like you miss what needs to be occurring right now. And I don't say that they don't adapt themselves to this moment, that they want to give to this and that cause and all of that. But see, it is like as soon as you start to plan something for the future, you're already too late. So you can never achieve your goals in this development because there is no future. You know, there literally is no future. So we force the continuity on it, but it doesn't mean that there is such thing as time. And I'm not telling anyone what to do, and I love what they do, love that they give away. That's always very nice. That's great. I love to do that too. And but they can give away without losing anything either. So another basic principle is, so when you give away, you don't necessarily lose. Like there's nothing lost with giving. So they actually are demonstrating that too. So that's pretty amazing. I didn't expect that. Like you can also think well, they didn't give enough because they didn't lower their assets, so they still have the same amount of money. But no, let's see it like this. Like, okay, you have nothing to lose by giving. That's even in this world, that appears to be the principle. Unless, like, I have my last dollar, like I give my dollar away, then I don't have any anymore. Because that is the principle of the material world, of a world of lack and all of that. So I will use the little paper that they put their plans in, a development plan. I'll read some of that, and then I'll come back to you. Rockefeller Foundation, and what do they call it? Scenarios. Oh yeah, this was the idea. The scenarios of future technology and international development. That's all great. So I'm gonna go quickly through this. So they have 3 scenarios. That's interesting. So I'll skip through to the first. Scenario 1 is lockstep. A very short definition of it is this: a world of tighter top-down government control and more authoritarian leadership with limited innovation and growing citizens' pushback. So that's one of the scenarios they see. And then they build their plans on them, and they show you what the scenarios would be, what it would entail. I'm not going to go in there too deeply. So then the next one is clever together. That's the next scenario. A world in which highly coordinated and successful strategies emerge for addressing both urgent and entrenched worldwide issues. That's the clever together. And then the next one would be hack attack. The hack attack scenario, an economically unstable and shock-prone world in which government weaken, criminals thrive, and dangerous innovations emerge. So they give their ideas about it, what would happen. So you can read this back on the website. I will publish this just as a background little thing to take a look at where are we actually busy with as human beings. So here's the smart scramble as the last scenario, an economically depressed world in which individuals and communities develop localized, makeshift solutions to a growing set of problems. Well, that doesn't sound too good either. So I was actually looking for the real transformative part, but it is my favorite scenario is not in there yet. So see, that's pretty amazing. So they come up with 3 different scenarios in which they give you an idea about how that could look and what their function could be in that world. And see, that's literally you project something in the future, and then you don't know exactly what is going to happen. But see, the beautiful thing with this is like we're looking for a future that has nothing to do with the past. We want to like come into an infinite now moment that will help us to bring it down to this moment. You know, just like I started this with the three lines I was sharing with you. You know, let God, you know, let your will be done in me. Let your will be done in me. See, I love that scenario. Let your will be done in me. Then there will be an automatic future scenario that will make everyone happy, and that I can completely be myself in and completely extend myself as the love that I am. So this the world is very limited in its idea, like the human consciousness is very limited in its concept, like very limited in its way of thinking. So, but it wants to continue it by projecting it literally into the future. And this is what you do as a human being. So with your mind, so yeah, you can take a look at that for yourself. How are you doing this in your daily life? Are you limiting yourself with ideas that you took from the past and projected into the future? Or are you dislodging yourself from the idea of past and past references and associative thought in order to let the future be completely free to be itself, given to you by letting His will be done to you, you know? It's like then you don't have to take any decisions. Then you don't have to decide. No, the only thing that's required is then to stay in this present moment and to remember who you really are and to come into the direct communication with everything that is. Then the only development that could take place is your fruition or your emergence into Christ consciousness. You know, so see, that is, I race through this. I know I'm too fast with this, but it's like beautiful opportunity. You know, it can only happen right now. This is where you find yourself. You don't need to be concerned with, oh, am I doing the right thing or am I doing this or that? Like, no, in this moment, like all other moments, you can come and rest. You can be completely at rest. If you need action, if you need to do something, meet someone or whatever, it will be told. It will literally, you will find yourself doing it. And if you need to speak, that will be given too. So it's like, yeah, let your will be done in me. And I want to come into this experience where I completely start to trust this. This is going to be my new reliance. This is going to be my certainty, just by my action of mind of remembering it and not believing what I see. Like, I will read something from the Rising in Consciousness, if I can find it, that will also say the same thing. Like that, it will tell the same thing about, it's like, you let this happen. There's a possibility for you to receive this and also to perceive this in a whole brand new, different way. Okay, this is so cool. That's why I wanted to share it. This is so to the point. You can't believe it. And when you read it, it's like, oh my God, Joel, this is wonderful. Okay, so I'll start one paragraph before that. Okay, my internet connection is a bit unstable. So, okay, now it's good again. With all these forms of bondage, we remember the first commandment: thou shalt have no other gods but me, no other power, no other presence, no other life, no other mind, no other intelligence, no other directing force but God. All of this other business is idolatry. It is placing faith and power in an effect. Here it comes. This was what I wanted to share. Don't ever forget this. We are not on the earth. That belief is a form of superstition and a form of bondage. The earth is within us. It is a formation of the infinite consciousness which I am. It is a form of divine being which has been made, created by that in a universal intelligence, which is really your individual consciousness. By all the laws of God, you yourself created the heavens and the earth, your consciousness which you are, and therefore they are subject unto you. Here we go. Let us be done with bondage to anything that exists in a realm of effect. We are not in bondage to our concepts of spiritual reality, nor are we in bondage to the reality itself. Our only bondage, if bondage it is, and it is a beautiful one, is to the Christ, to the divine idea of government, the divine idea of infinite intelligence. And this is the only thing that we are subject to. Divine consciousness, universal consciousness, that which we call God, which is individual consciousness, yours and mine, that is the law of our individual being. I told you that's so great. So I love that. So he says, never forget. So I'll put this on the website too, so you can read this part over and over if you feel like it. It is so helpful to see yourself in the right place. Like, oh, wait a minute, yes, I forgot. I forgot. Oh yes, this is exactly what I mean. This is exactly what I needed to remember. So there are so many, tools or words, or there's so much help given on this path that's just unbelievable. So now it's up to you to use this. It's up to you to use this on a daily basis in the moments that you think like, oh, I don't know, I don't know what to do now, or I feel very low, or I feel this or that. It's like, okay, pick up the book, read. Pick up the book, or remember a line. Let something come to you. silence your mind, just be quiet for a moment and let everything fall apart, so to speak. Let everything just relax into this one moment that you suddenly remember is the only moment there is anyway. So this is the practice. And I'm so happy that I can share this with you and that you are actually listening to this and taking it to yourself as a part of entering into this new continuum altogether. So thank you so much for being present with me here in this class. And for now, I would say I hope to see you next week for our last class in other dimensions of experience. If you have any questions or comments, just write me an email or put it somewhere where you can comment, like on the YouTube video, whatever. I'm very curious how this is for you and what is occurring to you. And thank you so much for being part of this.